Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Marvel Rivals. Now I know you've heard of Marvel Rivals because it's one of the biggest games out there right now. Basically it's Overwatch, but instead of being with Overwatch characters, it has the people from the Avengers and other Marvel properties. Obviously that's going to be huge, but I don't think anybody really expected it to be this huge. Look at this. Its all-time peak right at launch was 480,000 people, which is an accomplishment. The 24-hour peak from when I'm filming this is 409,436. That's right, they're still getting pretty close to their all-time peak even 28 days later. Can you believe that? And then, even right now, kinda late at night, there are 256,389 people playing Marvel Rivals. So it's safe to say that it's doing really well. It's the #2 top seller on Steam. Now, if you need something to compare that to, let's take a look at Overwatch 2. Now, these numbers aren't entirely complete because a lot of people do play Overwatch on the Blizzard Battle.net launcher. However, even with that acknowledgement, you have to realize that the all-time peak of Overwatch 2 was only 75,000 people, which is like 4 times less, almost 5 times less. So were there 3 times as many players in Overwatch on the Battle.net launcher? I don't know. I'm kind of doubting it. You compare the 24-hour and the players right now, I mean, come on guys, it's 400,000 versus 35,000. And this is the biggest competitor with Marvel Rivals right now. In case you want to know why people are switching between Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, all you need to do is look at the positive reviews. Marvel Rivals has a 79.72% positive review rating, whereas Overwatch 2, well, it's got a 22.65% review rating. Now, obviously, Overwatch 2 has had a lot longer to garner negative sentiment, and people are kind of hating on Blizzard these days because Blizzard has made a ton of massive mistakes. But I don't think that changes the fact that Marvel Rivals is literally blowing them out of the water. There is one problem though. It does seem like Marvel Rivals is making a bit of a faux pas. As you can see, I was the other day browsing the Asmongold clips channel when I saw this video right here. The Marvel Rivals situation is crazy, and we're just going to take a look and see what's going on with Marvel Rivals. Why are people upset with them?
Taiwan sucks. Free Taiwan. It contains inappropriate language. Wow. Oh.
Yep, that's right. Marvel Rivals does not let you say free Taiwan. However, that's not the only thing they're censoring. It just gets worse.
Okay, all right. Free Tibet? Taiwan? #1.
That's right, it doesn't even let you say Taiwan #1, and don't you dare talk about Hong Kong or Tibet, which are both areas that have been annexed by China, and their annexation has caused a little bit of an uproar throughout the entire civil rights movement in the world, because China's not very nice to the places that they take over, as a general rule. And, yep, if you didn't catch that, what he typed in there, Tiananmen Square, obviously we all know what that was. It was not a good day for China. They did a lot of very, very bad things that day, and they really like to censor that. You can see a common thread between all of the things that aren't allowed. You can't say free Tibet, you can't say free Hong Kong, you can't say free Taiwan, you can't say Tiananmen Square. And what's the common thread between those? Well, China doesn't like them. China has for a long time been trying to censor the internet, and it turns out that through their video game companies, they seem to be trying to do it. It gets even more ridiculous. Right here, he tries to type in the year 1989.
This is gonna be
Now,
fine.
1989 gets blocked, and that's a reasonable response because it's just a year. You can't mention the entire year of 1989. Why not? Because that was the year that China decided that they were going to do some very bad things at Tiananmen Square. So, I mean, there's all sorts of other stuff too. The censorship isn't just about historical events and countries. There's also some more recent events that they won't let you talk about.
Okay, Wuhan virus.
Huh, that's strange, isn't it?
How about virus? How about Wuhan?
So, you can say the words virus and Wuhan separately, but if you combine them into one thing, you get blocked. And it's the same thing, you can say the word free, and you can say the word Taiwan, but you can't combine them together. Same for Hong Kong, Tibet. Basically, they have just a blacklist of words built into Marvel Rivals, just stopping you from mentioning anything negative about China. Not great. My favorite one being one that Asmongold tries, which might seem innocuous to you, but it really underscores the entire point.
Try Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, that's right. Winnie the Pooh is not allowed to be talked about inside Marvel Rivals. And why is that? Because, as it turns out, China does not like Winnie the Pooh. Our good friend, and by good friend I mean horrible dictator, Xi Jinping, the leader of China, does not like being compared to Winnie the Pooh and sees it as a disrespectful mockery of himself, which has led to Winnie the Pooh being censored in China. There's a whole thing here. Extensive censorship against Winnie the Pooh. There is, in fact, no ban on books and toys depicting Winnie the Pooh, but don't you dare say it in Marvel Rivals. This whole thing might sound kind of familiar to you because earlier I mentioned Overwatch. Now, one of the things with Overwatch is that people got mad at Blizzard. One of the reasons people got mad at Blizzard was because they were censoring their games in order to appease China. Now, this was way back, and Blizzard has had many scandals since then, but this was one of the first ones that got it all started off. And we look here, basically what had happened was there was a Hong Kong player in a Hearthstone competition put on by Blizzard, and then after the actual event was over, the player was being interviewed by the news media, and he said, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our times." Now, that doesn't sound too bad, does it? Blizzard thinks it did. Blizzard said that it violated the competition rules, they stripped him of his winnings, and forbid him from competing in the next year. I do believe that the backlash that they got from this, which was extensive, they were being boycotted, people were very angry when Blizzard did this. I do think that they actually went back and they loosened the punishment on this guy because of the backlash, but it was the start, and it's really not a great thing for any company to do this, especially with a massive American player base, because if there's one thing Americans like to do, it's talk, and we don't really like when people censor us or tell us we can't say something. So why exactly do you think that Marvel Rivals is going down this path? Well, it's pretty simple. The game was made by NetEase Games. Now, who are NetEase Games? Well, if you look here, you'll see the other games that they've published. None of them are super well known. The only two with positive reviews are Onmoji, which is a Japanese RPG, and even it's that kind of mixed in the recent reviews. And then the other ones here is Bloodstrike, which is everybody's favorite type of game, a battle royale. So yeah, they don't have an extensive history on Steam at least, but they have been around for a long time. Their first games were Westward Journey, and Westward Journey Online 2 seems to be based on the famous novel Journey to the West, which was a Chinese novel written a long time ago that is still very popular. It's actually what Black Myth Wukong is based on. In fact, they are based in China, as you can see here. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of the place where they are because I will not be able to. However, they are based in China, which might make sense because they have in the past worked with our good friends Blizzard Entertainment. Kind of a backstab for them to work on Marvel Rivals, but with them being a Chinese company, they are required to follow Chinese censorship. Now, it's not talked about that much anymore because everybody just assumes that China is censored, but nobody really talks about the lengths of it and how easy it is for a topic to get censored in China. China is a country that tries to exercise soft power. Their geopolitical strategy has been to try not to act militarily, but rather to put pressure in different ways. So what China does a lot is they go to different countries, they give them money for infrastructure projects, and they tend to give them loans that don't exactly make sense and that they know the country can't pay back. And they do that because they know that then they can put political pressure on those countries. It happens a lot in Africa and South America. China basically runs these countries because they owe so much money to China. But that doesn't work in the United States. So how is China going to infiltrate the United States and exert their soft power? Well, it's simple. They're just going to make something popular and they're going to put their ideas into it. It is kind of propagandistic. I don't know if you can actually call it propaganda because Marvel Rivals has nothing to do with China and it doesn't have Chinese themes throughout it, but the fact that you can't say certain things that are negative about China is kind of propagandistic. And that propaganda, that inability to be able to say what you want, especially around certain things, it stifles the conversation. There's a reason that in the United States we have the First Amendment. The First Amendment says that all speech is lawful. Now, there have been a couple of exceptions to that rule that have been put in place in the past. Most of them have actually been overturned. If you ever hear somebody say you can't say fire in a crowded theater, that's actually not true. Legally, you can. I would not tell you to do it. It's a bad idea. But there was a Supreme Court case where they ruled, oh, you can't say fire in a crowded theater. And then a little while later, there was another Supreme Court case that said that that ruling had been in error, and they reversed that error. And the reason for that is, in America, we know that by censoring a conversation, by stopping people from talking about something, you're trying to control their minds. The Founding Fathers knew this. They knew that if you can control ideas, you can control the people. So they tried to stop everybody from being controlled by putting the First Amendment in place, allowing us to get our thoughts across. So I do think it's kind of dangerous that we're entering into a new world where China is censoring online conversation. China is enforcing their soft power of censorship onto Americans and everybody. Basically, by stopping people from talking about it in Marvel Rivals, will it have that big of an effect? Probably not, but their end goal is almost certainly to just make it so you don't even think about talking about things like freeing Taiwan or the Free Hong Kong movement because they don't want those ideas out there. They want to be able to control what you're thinking of. And the easiest way to do that is to just slowly over time say, oh, you can't say that here. And eventually you'll go, oh, I can't talk about that because I'll get banned or it won't let me type it out. So what's the point of trying to talk about it? It's an underhanded way for them to try and force the conversation away from things that they don't like. Like I said, I don't think this is going to have a massive effect on, I don't think that kids who are playing Marvel Rivals are suddenly going to become Chinese sleeper agents. That's insane. But it's just a sketchy look into how China is starting to exercise soft power through video games and its culture, which is an area where America has enjoyed a monopoly for a very long time. So it'll be interesting to see how this changes things as we go forward, and China seems to be making more and more moves into the video game space. But what do you guys think? Is this really as bad as I think it is? Are you worried about Chinese censorship in games? If you are, or if you're not, let me know in the comments and tell me why. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Have a great day, and God bless you.